I would like to welcome you here today, Grand Guruji, Colonel T. Sreenivasulu. I would like to welcome Angela, who is a Sadhak of Sadhguru Haji. I would like to welcome my disciple Dilip to this video meeting. I would also like to welcome Siddha Yogini Thanishka and Yogi Dheeraj. So, Param Guruji, on the previous video, you ended on the subject of karma. You used the term information for karma. You also used the term genetic coding. In a way, you showed karma is the fuel that fuels the cycle of birth and death. It is not some mystical reference. I would wish if you could speak on this topic and expand further, Guruji.
Yes. We were discussing about the rationale as to why karma is the main reason for the existence of a human being. Let's quickly recapitulate the thing a little. Otherwise, those of you who are attending new, you may not be able to follow the train of logic. Like to put it to give you a broad perspective, we discussed the creation of a human being, and we tried to compare it with the creation of a building, an iconic building. Just like you want to create a building, you need a land first, and you need to prepare the land also. You need to cut the bushes, flatten the surface, and then harden the soil so that you can lay the foundation. Now, prior to the construction of building, as I said, you need the land first. That is a prerequisite. Without land, obviously, you can't even execute your plan. But even before that, there is something else you need. That is the blueprint. Blueprint for the complete building. Your drainage system, how you are going to erect these walls, your electrical plan, all that. So the blueprint is must. Now comes, we also discussed, before you give the blueprint, you ask for the blueprint or the design from the architect. Since you are getting the house constructed, you need to tell your own idea to him, give your own idea to him, how you want the building to come in. And when you tell the architect how you want the building to be constructed, you can't let your mind go into all kinds of imagination. You can't say that, no, I want a building to be constructed in the form of a banana tree or some other strange structure. Mind may visualize anything imaginatively, but it has to be within the technical feasibility. It has to be within the technical feasibility of the time. The architect may object, saying that, I'm sorry, it is technically not feasible at this with the current technology. Then you may object further. No, I have seen it somewhere else. I have seen it somewhere in some other city. I have seen it in, let's say, somewhere in Europe, or maybe somewhere in Japan. It is perfectly possible, and I will share you the internet. I will share you the pictures also. Now, here is the point here. It's a crucial point to understand. How do you know that there is a structure existing elsewhere which you wanted to get constructed as per your choice? Because of your past knowledge. You have seen the structure somewhere else. You read about it. You have seen maybe in the movie, you must have seen it. That experience which you had, call it, we will not use the word knowledge, rather, because knowledge is too big a word to use it for in such circumstances. Let us call it you can kind of data bank. You have the input in your mind. You have undergone through that experience directly. You saw a building constructed elsewhere in the form of a banana tree or some other tree. Therefore, you know that technically it must be feasible. So you argue it out with the architect. Now, this is crucial to understand. If that data is not there, your project is a no-go. You will have to accept whatever the architect gives a design. You will have to just accept it. There is no creativity there now. So similarly, when a human intellect is being constructed, or if you are constructing a AI-based robot, without that data, even the AI will be defunct. Artificial intelligence will be defunct because there is no data for it to work with. Similarly, when a human being is manufactured, the data with which which is imprinted in the subconscious mind, that is crucial. Just imagine, I'll give you an example. Oh, James, today you're born there in Ireland, all right? Just imagine one of your country cousin about 500 years back during the time of, let's say, Vikings. During the time of Vikings. So you pick up a person randomly from that times, and you know you are there. What is the difference between you today and the person who lived during the times of Vikings?
Guruji, it's all an illusion.
You know, it is the exposure of the mind to the technology. Today, being living in the 21st century, you have exposure to so much of science, technology, and all that, which the person 500 years back, he was also like you only, same height, same shape, everything is same. Biologically, you are no different from your country cousin who lived during, let's say, around 14th or 15th century. And yourself, there's no difference. Biologically, you both are same. If biologically you are same, your heart also must have been same. I am sure your country cousin also had heart of compassion, love, anger, and also all the human emotions. So you see, it is not only your biological structure which is common. Both are, let's say, six footers, all right. But your heart also is same. I mean, the functioning of the heart. Maybe you may be more compassionate now, little bit, than your country cousin 500 years ago. But he may be more aggressive than you, probably. Or maybe he has got that sense of humor more than you. So your human emotions are also same. Therefore, what reason is there not to believe that the intellect also must have been same? And the egoism also same. I'm sure you will all agree with that. The egoism with which he was born with 500 years ago, and your own egoism today is common. There may be differences in the grade, but that egoism is there. And intellect is there, same intellect. And same human emotions are being exhibited by both of you. And as far as the physical structure is concerned, it is same. There may be little bit minor variations pertaining to, let's say, James, you are now used to working in with machines, so your little body is little more delicate and soft. Maybe he was working 500 years back, so his body is little rugged. But what is the difference between you and him? The exposure of the mind, or the data which is inside the mind. And that data, where has he brought from, and where have you brought from today? It was carried forward from the past life in the form of karmic data. The karma which has been accumulated at the precise point of time when the person has died in the previous war. Similarly, in your case, in your previous life, precisely at that point, with whatever karma which you have accumulated, you must have died. You have carried forward the same thing here now. Rather, there is no choice also here. The karmic data is propelling you to take birth again. Accordingly. Accordingly means depending upon the kind of that karmic data, the ecosystem in which you are going to take up birth is going to be matched precisely. For example, a person, let's say, he has earned a lot of religious merit in the previous life, donated to charity, and he is blessed to be taking birth in a family so that he enjoys a wealthy life, right? If he has to take birth as a rich person, he will not take up birth in a poor man's family, right? So the kind of parents which he is going to inherit, the kind of siblings which he is going to inherit in the house, the kind of friends he will accumulate, the kind of relatives he will accumulate, or the extended family for that matter. Everything has to match with the kind of destiny which he has carried forward. Now comes the physical attributes. The kind of intellect with which he is born. Intellect is same. But now what is happening is whether the intellect is now sharp, whether it is little blunt, whether the egoism is little boosted up or the egoism is little dull, humble. When it comes to human emotions, whether the person is born as an angry man or more of a compassionate human being like James, or maybe a very, very angry person, whatever it is. So his entire mental makeup, including intellect, egoism, and the emotions, all the three things I'm narrating, and also the physical body, everything is being dictated by the karma there, which has carried forward. And today, modern science may be saying that the underlying thing for the existence of a human being are the biological asset. The underlying biological asset is DNA or genetic code. Well, that's fine because after all, some medium has to be there for the person to take up birth. He has carried forward his karma, all right. If he wants to take up birth, he needs parents. The soul has to enter a womb to be born as a baby. The parents are basically the medium. And then as it manufactures its biological body, the entire biological mechanism will be put in place, right? So is the genetic coding. It starts with the genetic coding, or the so-called DNA. And according to the coding, the intellect, the egoism, the mental, emotional state, the physical structure of the body, whether the body is diseased or whether the body is likely to undergo some disease, maybe 20, 30 years down the line. As per whatever is, as per the DNA code, the life is taking, or rather shaping up. So, you see, this is where the crucial thing to understand. Today, we see people say, no, that is due to the genetic coding. Where has karma come into this place in between? Because here what is happening here is, suppose a person is meeting with an accident. It's a serious accident. You would have normally should have died. But he was lucky. Someone quickly called for an ambulance. He was rushed to a hospital. Luckily, the hospital was not far off. Luckily, there was a surgeon available to operate, and he survived. He has been saved. Now he may say egoistically, I have been saved by a guy who called for an ambulance. I have been saved by a guy called as ambulance driver. I have been saved by a guy called the surgeon. You can say that. But these are only the medium. All these people are only acting as a medium here. There is something else which is coming to his rescue. That is the his karma is coming to his rescue basically. He was to meet with the accident because of his karma. Because he could have been met with an accident, what do you call, by his own mistake. He must have been driving in a stupid way. So you must have met with an accident. Or you may not have been driving in any stupid way, but due to the mistake of others, you must have met with an accident. So it was destined that he was to meet with an accident, but it is also destined that instead of dying, he is to get saved. So this getting saved by undergoing through an emergency medical treatment is also now part of the karma. That is the thing to understand. Some people, they say, no, we know that today science permits us to go and tamper with the genetic code. Yes, you may go and tamper with the genetic code and get yourself cured from the disease. All right. But that is also part of the karma only. Just like the way this guy got saved by in the accident. So therefore, it is the karma which is being manifested as the, call it genetic coding, call it DNA, and which subsequently manifests as the intellect, the egoism, the mind, and the physical body. And thereafter, whatever the person experiences in day-to-day life, that is nothing but projection of the reflection of that karma only there. He is not, whatever he is experiencing day-to-day life, nothing but reflection of the karma which has been accumulated there. Nothing else is happening to him outside. No one is bothered about the person. No one has any love lust for that person. It is only his egoism that he is thinking that people are hating me, people are loving me. No one is bothered about you only, first of all. It is your karma which is getting reflected back to you. So this is the crucial thing to understand. Next, another point is, if this be the case, just imagine a situation. Earlier we were talking about an AI-based robot. You remove the data, which is karma, or they call it data. The AI becomes defunct. Similarly, for a human being also, the moment if somehow the karma is eliminated, the AI or the intellect becomes defunct. If the intellect becomes defunct, mind becomes defunct. And the external life which he has been experiencing, that also starts coming to a frozen state. Because there is no karma to be experienced now. So there is no karma which is getting reflected back now to him. Hence the implications are very profound. What happens when the karma is eliminated? So if karma is the main issue here, which is obstructing, or rather the reason for the manifestation of the destiny of a person, and the reverse is also now true. By hook or crook, you manage to eliminate the karma, then there is no reason for the spirit to take up birth as a human being now, henceforth. So this is the thing crucial to understand. This is the reason why I was trying to explain you earlier. This is the basic mechanism that exists in every human being. Whichever part of the world you are born, whether a person is born in Japan, whether a person is born in Africa, whether a person is born in Europe, all have been born with the same biological structure and with the same karmic structure. Where is the role for any god or goddess or a religion in this entire thing? Where have the gods, goddesses have been gone? Have gone? We have so many gods, so many goddesses in every part of the world. You go to Africa, they have their own gods and goddesses. You go to Arabia, they have their own gods and goddesses. You go to Japan, they have them. Come to India, we have too many of them. Where is the role of gods and goddesses in the entire thing now? If karma is the main issue, where are the gods and goddesses gone? Why so much of debate is going on all over the world, all through the history of mankind? And you all know how much of blood has been shed in the name of religion, how much of violence has been committed in the name of religion. My simple straight question is, where is the role of, whether it is a philosophy, whether it is anything else for that matter, whether it is a big great doctrine, great philosophy, great science, religion, or whatever maybe. If the karma is the culprit, everyone has landed up where you are because of your own actions. You have created your own destiny for yourself. And just that you are trying to undergo through the consequences of it. Why are you bringing in all these things now here in between? Let me tell you, everything will fall flat into its place. If only this question is answered, accepted at least.
Just wanted to ask as well, Param Guruji, excuse me, where is the question then even of right or wrong? I know before when you were speaking to a sadhak and you gave the example of, let's say you were walking down the street and there is a man being beaten on the ground, severely beaten. But if you look at that through the lens of a yogi and you knew he was undergoing karma only, then where is the question of the human emotions, the reaction, the empathy, when you know it is the play of karma on a grand scale? And similarly, what is going on in the world that can be a major distraction? Where is the question then of right or wrong or empathy or feeling sorry when you know it is just the play of karma? If you could speak to that also.
Yeah, sure, I will answer this question. The problem is, we are all living in a world of what do you call mathematics nowadays. Now, when you live in a world of mathematics, what you do? You calculate. Everything you calculate. Because you are all living in a world of mathematics now. Okay? So, from that point, the so-called empathy, now you only tell me. I've told you just now, whatever has happened, whatever is happening, is all nothing but is a karmic this thing only. It is all meshed together, right? Suppose if a person is being beaten on the street, it was his own karma, it was only his self doing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you are passing on the street, how you react to the situation will depend on your own karma. How many people are not there? We have not seen. At least you must have heard in the mainstream media, a girl is being killed, stabbed, and other people are just watching, looking at the action going on. No one is interfering into that because everyone is scared that they may also receive the injuries. Or how many people you don't see when you're going on the street and someone is dying? People are not even bothered. There's no empathy. They just carry on with their life. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if this is a issue which pertains to the society. What is the moral value of the in the place? What happened to the empathy of the people? Right? So now you only tell me, is it a spiritual problem or is it a social problem? You tell me.
Is it a spiritual problem or is it a social problem with the empathy when you see something happen? Is that what you're saying, Guruji?
Yeah, that I am trying to address the very core of the issue. Why a human being has landed up in this kind of a situation. And now we are trying to point out what is happening inside the film, what is being screened now.
It is karma only, Guruji, the play of karma, what situation and scenario you are in and what events are unfolding.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, it boils down to how you react to the situation, basically.
Guruji, I have a question. If karma is everything, then what is free will? We do have free will, Guruji.
Okay, I'm coming to that. Okay. Now, because of this, okay, now all of you please kindly listen to me very carefully here. Of the problem with spiritual understanding or the understanding of the spiritual subjects is because of the incomplete details. Let me recall that famous story of the 11 blind men standing around an elephant. Everyone is holding in his hands, touching the elephant, and everyone is saying that the elephant is like this, like this, like this, right? But the point is, no one is lying. But that's not the whole story. Now, coming to your point of exercising free will, I'll just prove it to you in 2 minutes. Probably you will only laugh at it. Because I have not yet explained you yesterday on the other day when we had this podcast, we systematically went about on the reverse order how a human being is constructed. Now I will come the same sequence again, once again, but in the opposite direction. As I said earlier, a human spirit, human soul is caught up in what you call a total of 8 components, which we call it as Maya. 8 of them. Beyond these 8 of them, we have something known as a total of 36 Tathwaas as per the Kashmir Shaivism, and 24 tattvas as per Sankhya philosophy, which I am not going into at this stage in this video. Let us restrict ourselves only these last 8 when it comes to Maya, when the spirit is caught in this 8. Intellect, egoism, your mind, and the 5 gross elements of the physical elements of the body. This is the structure. This is the gross design of the human being. Now, this entire gross body, the so-called free will which you are talking about, is in the middle sheath of the phantom body called the cerebrospinal system. That is to say, your gross body of flesh and blood is there. When you die, that gross body is left behind. You live with a subtle body. That subtle body is like a phantom body. And one of the layer is called Pranamaya Kosha, which is filled with nothing but karmendriyas and life force. Underneath that phantom body is your mind. When we say mind, it is not located at a specific place. It is distributed along the various chakras. Last time, if you recollect my video, I've explained also. James, am I right?
Yeah.
So, in that mind, we have got 5 sensory organs and 5 subtle essences of the elements, and also it has also got the ability to experience the human emotions, and it has also been put, another sensor has been put there, which is called as free will. So your free will is like a transmission gear in a car, power transmission system. The moment a karma is surfacing on the mind, in the mind, immediately the intellect comes into action. What is good, what is not good, how the reaction should be, how it should not be. And it is being colored by the egoism also. It is colored by the egoism also. Just like take the example of the guy who was being beaten on the street, what James was mentioning a little while ago. You are now passing on the street. You saw the drama going on there. Your intellect is now warning, issuing the command. Your intellect, located at your between the eyebrows, that is the Agni Chakra, is issuing the command to your mind, tinged with the color of egoism. And your mind, based on the emotion which is, it has got predominantly in it. For example, the courage is 0. So now the intellect is giving the command, go and stop the crime being committed. Your mind says, sorry, I am scared. Or your intellect is issuing the command, you are becoming over exuberant. You want to go and stop the crime. But think about your body. Your body is like a rat. That guy will give you one slap and you will be flat on the ground. You don't have the physical strength. Your intellect is warning you. So based on your intellect, the discretion being exercised by the intellect and colored by the egoism, and your human emotions, how strong they are. Your courage may be there, but your body is not supporting. You may be a, let's say, old man, diseased body. What you will go and stop that crime there? What capability you have? On the other hand, you may be having body like Hercules, like Tyson, but unfortunately, you don't have the courage. You're getting scared. Obviously, you will not go and take any action. So, based on whatever decision we have finally has been taken, what your intellect has told, given out the verdict, supported by your emotional temperament and also your egoism, the command goes to the transmission gear known as free will. The free will now issue the command to organs of action. What it will issue? You better run. Don't get involved in this. Or it will give the command. You are such a great guy. You have been, what do you call, you have been a former soldier. Pick up a stick, go and bash him up. That guy is unfortunately being beaten by someone else. It will give command to your hands. Now your hands will come into action now. You'll pick up an iron rod, you'll go and face that situation boldly. Whosoever is beating that person on the street, you will go and interfere now. He said, stop the nonsense, I am not going to allow it. So you see, your free will is only like that transmission gear. It can't do anything there. Whatever is being executed as the karma, according to the karma, how the intellect is issuing out the verdict and your egoism, how it is supporting it, and matched by your emotional temperament, how it is reacting it. Finally, that's where you are going to take the action. Agree? Many people have romanticized this idea. Free will. You have free will, and you can move the mountains. I think often it is misrepresented. The idea itself is misrepresented. Where the will is coming from, extra that power, it is only a transmission gear. It doesn't even have that power there. See, often where they understand it, you must understand. In good olden days, people didn't understand the mechanism involved in this. For example, there is a mother is got involved in getting involved in some kind of an accident with the baby, and the mother is hell-bent on saving the baby from the accident, because the emotion of that motherhood is so strong. She's in a state of hysteria now. She is in a state of hysteria. Then what happens here is, temporarily, certain chemical cocktails are released into the nervous system, and the mother is able to perform a miraculous act. Maybe she is able to lift up a weight, or let's say car, which is crushing the baby, and save the baby now. She may be able to perform that miracle. We keep hearing such stories once in a while. It's not if you want to call it sankalpa, fine, use any word if you want. But the mechanism involved here is this. Yes, it is possible. Certain release of certain chemicals. I was talking to you all in another video on the other day. It is possible to perform certain physical feats which are otherwise not possible. The body is not designed to take that kind of lift that kind of a weight. But temporarily, some chemical cocktails are released. See, what was once about 50 years back, it was to be considered as a magic. But today, we are now treating it as a neurochemistry. We are now able to explain how that phenomena occurs. And even now, I believe experiments are going on. People are trying to figure out what if some other substance may be getting released in the central nervous system, which is causing the release of these chemical cocktails, which is making the person take action, perform certain things which are beyond his physical capability. That means if he has to lift up, let's say, 100 kgs weight, but how will he lift it up? Because his body himself is only 30, 40 kgs, or maybe 60, 70 kgs. His hands may not be able to support that 100 kgs or 200 kgs weight. The tissue and the muscle may not be able to support. A lot of theories are coming wherein it is being said that the tensional integrity will be maintained to the body by release of the chemicals temporarily. And there is something known as a plasma theory is also being put forward nowadays, I believe, wherein they are saying, no, the reaction is going to be, it is as if the body is going to react like a energy, surrounded by energy, so that it can lift up 200 kgs or maybe even 500 kgs if required. A feeble body of a human being, if right chemicals are released in the central nervous system, he may be able to lift up even 500 kgs also. People are working on it. So these are all supernatural feats which we have been discussing about it. And there have been instances also which happened in the past. And even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it is mentioned in one of the books. These supernatural powers can be affected either by in the normal course of meditation and release of those chemical cocktails in the brain, or by drugs. Yes, certain drugs, they do release those chemical cocktails. And third, they say by mortification of the body. By mortification of the body also, people develop those extra supernatural powers. Although there's nothing supernatural as such in this. It is all subjected to a natural phenomena only. There is a process for that. Anyway, that's besides the point. This has got nothing to do with our spiritual journey or spiritualism is all about. As far as spiritualism is concerned, it is directly linked with the kind of karma which is obstructing the human being.
If we are presented with this situation, somebody getting beaten up on the street, and you are there, and you're going to react, whether it's empathy or walking away or whatever, your reaction will be based on your state of your ego, your intellect, and your mind, and the accumulated karma at that stage. Okay? So your behavior, your reaction will be almost automatic based on all this. Free will doesn't even come in. You're going to act based on the karma at that time.
Yes, as I said, even the free will itself is, first of all, remove that equation. There is nothing known as that free will itself is not there. Firstly, it is a mistaken thing. And I'm sticking my neck out in saying this. I'm sticking my neck out in saying this. It is an idea which is non-existent, and it has no existence of its own. It is only a transmission gear. The exercising free will is like exercising your transmission gear of the automobile, whether you want to put it in gear, top gear or lower gear. Nothing else. It is only acting as an instrument to pass the command. And where the command is coming from? Your intellect. And where it is the origin is from? From the karma. Okay, now let's come to the question which you just asked. We have explained the situation here. We have taken the example, a hypothetical example. What are the possible outcomes? How people are likely to behave? How the society overall will behave towards such a situation? We have discussed about it. And that's all about it. If you are thinking that there is a set formula, correct thing to do, it is not existent. It is not there. If you say that there is something known as, people may question, no, how can you, a person pass like, walk away like that? What happened to the right conduct? What happens to the dharma? What if he is helpless? What can he do about that? It has to match with the feasibility also. What can anyone do about that?
Yeah. So
Yeah, please.
when I look at the human condition and the human being in a given situation, whether he's a thief or a saint, everyone is doing their best based on where they are, their consciousness. Everybody is doing the best of where they are.
Say again, I didn't get that. What your doubt question is?
Yeah. So when I look at a given person in a given situation, he or she is doing the best he or she can based on where he is. Everybody is doing the best, even if the person is a thief or a person is a saint. Everybody is doing their best.
Can I put it in a different language? The same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
The person is not doing his best. He is being kicked left and right on the street like a football. Sometimes onto the left side of the road, sometimes onto the right side of the road, sometimes again left side, sometimes to the road right side. He has no other choice there. It is not that he is doing his best. He is totally in a helpless situation, whether he likes it or he doesn't like it. It was to happen that way it is happening, and he has got no other choice there. The only choice which is there here is, if he is lucky enough, he will find a way out for getting himself free from the entire issue here. Freedom from that karma. Freedom from the karma results in your mind and intellect becoming defunct now. There's nothing left for you to do now in this world. Otherwise, propelled by the karma, there's no other choice for anyone except to undergo through the consequences of the karma. The rest, everything is, you all know that, egoistic talk. Egoism doesn't permit people to accept this truth. They come out with all their grand philosophies, doctrines, and all that. It's because of this, to this extent, I basically wanted to say this much. I have already mentioned it also in the beginning of my talk. there are 11 people who are standing around an elephant. Everyone is touching the elephant, a particular part, and everyone is saying that this elephant looks like this looks like that, this looks like that. No one is telling anything wrong, but neither it is the whole truth. If someone was to get that vision, he will simply laugh and then will walk away from there. He will not even get involved with arguing with these other guys. See, the problem with spiritualism is most often, which I wanted to actually talk to you today about this. Somehow we got a little bit distracted too long on the aspect of karma. Mostly it is all confusion that is prevailing. It's a total confusion because of lack of knowledge about the overall picture. Everyone is hanging on to certain bits and pieces, some information which he must have read somewhere, which he must have heard from somewhere, and his mind is racing and trying to think something else. So without the clarity about the big picture, people are everywhere, they're getting drowned in utter confusion, to be very frank. Okay, I'll just try and give you an insight. See if you can really get an insight into this. I'll sum it up in a very short frame of time. You know, since ancient times, we have 6 major philosophical systems in India. Since ancient times. Out of the 6 philosophical systems, they usually operate in 2 to buddy pairs. 2 philosophical systems are applied in one go. One acting as the theory, another acting as the practical application. I will list out also, no issues for you. The first is called a Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy. Next is yoga, the meditation-based yoga system, which we all are familiar with, which we also call as Ashtanga Yoga or Raja Yoga. So that is the second. And the third is, there is something known as logic. The science of logic. Everything is by logic, rational thought. And the fourth is what we call it as Vaisheshika, or the atomic science, atomism. And of course, the fifth one is known as, there's something known as Mimamsa. Means one adhering to all the so-called right conduct, dharma. Just now we were talking what is supposed to be done, what's supposed to be not done, what are the rituals to be performed as per the Vedas, and all that. And the last one is basically Vedanta. So we have the 6 Indian philosophical systems: Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Out of these 6, the first 2, Sankhya and Yoga, one is like a theory, another is like the practical application of it. In our path, Shaktipat, you can say that directly applicable with Sankhya philosophy only. Anyway, that is besides the point. What all these things are teaching, if you see the underlying teaching of all these things, Sankhya and Yoga, they are teaching the meditation-based yoga system. Meditation-based yoga system. Once the Kundalini is awakened, as the karma is getting burned down, be a witness to it. Allow the karma to get burned down. That's all this thing is talking about, these 2 philosophies. If you come to the logic and Vaisheshika, that is Nyaya and Vaisheshika, it pertains to Jnana Yoga. When it pertains to Jnana Yoga, we have to talk about so many things now here. Systematically, I will have to explain you. On the other day, I was trying to explain you also how the blueprint has been constructed for a human body, how the chakras are there, how the nadis are there, how the sonic blueprint is imprinted on that, how the primordial creation has started from the primordial sound known as Om, how it has descended to become to the Vaikari stage. The entire sequence I will not explain. I will explain to you also, no issue. But it is just an academic stuff. That's all about it. So this logic and this thing, they are basically dealing with that. And also the atomism, how the cosmos has been created. When we say Brahman, what do you mean by Brahman? Is it solar system or is it restricted to our galaxy? When we say various lokas, planes of existence, what they are talking about? What is your idea of God? First of all, at the outset, what exactly you mean by God? How big is the idea of that God? It is threadbare. Everything will come threadbare in this. So this all pertains to the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. And then we have something known as Mimamsa and Vedanta. Mimamsa is all about, you can say, Karma Yoga, performing your duty with dispassion. You just follow what is the right conduct as per the scriptures. And then lastly, you have Vedanta. Vedanta is all about devotion to God. So when you say devotion to God, as per the Vedanta, here the problem is there are again three schools of thought. The school of monism, Advaita Vedanta, wherein you say that there is no distinction between the soul and the God. Then there is something known as dualism, Dvaita philosophy, where you say that God is different, devotee is different. Eternally, the devotee can never merge with the God. And then we have the third branch of Vedanta, known as Visishta Advaita, which is trying to establish a kind of a reconciliation between these three, between all the three schools of thought. So see, Vedanta, when you talk of Vedanta, there are three schools of thought. Your Kashmir Shaivism, your Vaishnavism, your Shakta philosophy. All earlier we were talking about so many gods and goddesses. Where is the role of all these gods and goddesses? Where do all these gods and goddesses fit in? Here in Vedanta. They will fit in inside this Vedanta. That is the sixth branch of Indian philosophy. So what do you make of all these things now? All are proposing there are four yoga systems only at the end of the day. Either meditation-based yoga system, or the path of knowledge, or the path of duty, karma yoga, or the path of devotion. Yoga systems are only four. Whether it is yoga system, whether it is tantric system, broadly they are four. People are using either one or a combination of two or a combination of all four. Doesn't matter. Similarly, out of all the 6 Indian philosophical systems, you follow either one or you follow all. It doesn't matter. But one needs to be very clear what they are doing and what is what. That's what I was trying to say when you say about the broad picture. If you don't and have the broad picture, what will happen? They will hear something from Sankhya philosophy. They will hear something from Advaita philosophy and they are confused. Total utter chaos. Total utter chaos. because they have heard someone telling them what Advaita philosophy, someone mentioning something great about Kashmir Shaivism. Someone is following Shiva, someone is following Ganapati, someone is following Durga, someone is following some other god. And whereas Sankhya philosophy is saying something, if you see Bhagavad Gita, mostly it is all they are talking about the Sankhya and Yoga only, mostly. Of course, it talks about other yoga systems also a little bit. Rather, it talks about all the four. In that way, Bhagavad Gita is a good text in the sense it gives you a broad overall picture about the entire thing, so that a person gets the clarity in this. But most often, what is happening is lack of clarity. Everyone is catching on to something, and they are getting emotional about it. They are getting sentimental about it. How will they progress on the path of yoga? Everything has to be done in a systematic way. No? You have to understand the broad picture. If you can't understand, don't worry. I just told you there are 6 philosophical systems. Don't bother about any of this. Don't bother about anything, because our Shaktipat, it covers all the 6 Indian philosophical systems. Whatever all these 6 philosophical systems are saying, it is all covered by the Shaktipat, under the umbrella of Shaktipat. You forget about these philosophical systems, dump them in dustbin, or keep them aside. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of these systems and all that. Just keep them aside. You focus only on your Guru. Shaktipat has been done on you, and the karma is getting neutralized. Now the problem is people don't want to do that. They are not able to focus on the Guru, because Shaktipat occurred for them when they are focusing on the Guru. That's how the process got triggered. So all that they need to do is to keep the mind focused on the Guru all the time, so that the process goes on in an optimum manner. But they are not able to do it understandable, because the mind is not designed that way. It is like a monkey. It keeps jumping around all the time. Since the mind is like a monkey, drunk with wine that too, and stung by a scorpion, you can well imagine the state of the monkey now. It is totally restless. It is unable to focus on the Guru. No problem. So what you do, you undertake certain measures so that the mind is always kept engaged with the idea of Guru. We use certain technique, which we call it as service to Guru. You keep serving the Guru in whatever little way one a person can, because that is only an excuse there, so that the mind is always focused on the Guru. So when the mind is focused on the Guru, since the Shaktipat has been triggered when the mind was focused on the Guru, it will now burn down the karma in an optimum manner. And burning down of karma is the fundamental or bottom line in every yoga system, every tantric system, every philosophy. I just told you there are 6 philosophical systems in India since ancient times. I've explained you the basics of all the 6 Indian philosophical systems, and I'll explain you the basic 4 yoga systems which these 6 philosophical systems are propagating. They're boiling down to 4, and all 4 of them, they're boiling down to one thing, that is karma. What happens when the karma burns down? It will be a topic for some other video, because it will become too long otherwise if we keep discussing it. Unlike a robot, if you see, when you are creating a robot with an artificial intelligence and a chip in the head, If you remove the data, it will not work. It will become defunct. But in a human being, there is something else which is happening here. That is, when the mind becomes calm because of the elimination of the karma, intellect, there's nothing for the intellect to process because there is no data only to process. And the mind is not undergoing through any modifications because there is no karma to throw it into any modification. It is like a calm water. When the mind is like a calm water, there is something at the core of the human being who is watching this entire drama going on the surface. And that gentleman is known as Purusha Tattva along with Prakriti Tattva. We have not yet gone to the soul. Soul is still far behind. There's a gentleman called, which is known as Purusha Tattva, and then Prakriti Tattva. That means the soul is now called as Purusha and is watching the Prakriti, the nature in front of him. And how he is going to experience that nature between this Purusha and the Prakriti is this eightfold Maya, which I just told you. The layers have been spun around the soul. So this is the sequence of the creation which happens. We were talking about the Sankhya's philosophy, right? That's what the Sankhya is saying that. We have the gentleman known as Purusha, Purusha Tattva. Purusha is basically the soul who is already been screwed. The soul which has already been screwed now is already caught. And then you have 24 tattvas now. Soul, Purusha Tattva, Prakriti Tattva, and then you have intellect, egoism, mind. 5. You have 5 sensory organs, 5 organs of actions, 5 essence of elements, and then 5 the gross physical elements. If you're adding them, you will have about, I think, 24, 25 of them. These are the tattvas as far as the Sankhya philosophy is concerned. When it comes to Vedanta, as per Kashmir Shaivism, they say there are 36 tattvas. See, we are now actually, what is happening here is, we are talking about the birth of a human being or the transition of a human being from the eternal spirit to a human being on the planet. We are talking about this transition through a different lens, not through the lens of mathematics of the modern science. Remember, you have to remember that. There is no mathematics here to calculate. That's why here it is called the essence of the thing. Or rather, there is something else also which is programmed into that. Call it resonance. How something is resonating with something else in this world. It is not about the calculation. It is all about how something is resonating with something else now. We are yet to drift into this science, which the modern science has still not been able to catch up. I believe it is trying to catch up, but so far, it's not much has been accomplished. Okay. I'll just give you a rundown of these 36 tattvas of Kashmir Shaivism, just to give you an insight Why all this confusion is prevailing among the mankind? In the beginning, when the God is there, absolute state of consciousness, pure consciousness, the static aspect of the God. They call it a Shiva Tattva. The Tattva of the essence of Lord Shiva. It is just a word. Take it that. Because the philosophies as per Kashmir Shaivism or call it absolute Brahman or the universal soul in state of static state. Absolutely static. Pure consciousness. That is called as Shiva Tattva. Then the gentleman, now he can't lift his hand or finger also because he's totally static. Something which can do that, we call it as Shakti Tattva. Shiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva. That is the dynamic aspect of the universal soul. So the universal soul or the God, as you want to call, or the Brahman, as you want to call, or Shiva, as you want to call, it is like a coin with two sides. Shiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva. And this gentleman has now decided, let me now create, let me be many. He should have kept himself, lived in himself in all alone, solitude. But he decides one day, let me now create the universe. Let me be many. The desire to create is next, what we call it as Sadashiva Tattva, the desire in the God. Okay, he decides to create. Now he needs the knowledge how to go about creating it. Like James may think, I want to create a beautiful, iconic building. It doesn't mean, if he desires it. He needs to have the exact blueprint, the knowledge how to go, how to execute that plan. You want to create an iconic building so tall, which has never been created on the planet Earth till date. You need a blueprint, right? You need various technologies you need for that. So therefore, knowledge is very essential, which we call it as Ishvara Tattva. Then we have something known as, now coming to the execution stage, actually constructing the building. That's what we call it as Shuddha Vidya Tattva. So there are 5 different tattvas which are given among this list of these 36 tattvas. Shiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva, okay? And then we have Sadashiva Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, Shuddha Vidya Tattva, like that. After this, now God has decided, okay, now I want to create. Now the first thing, he has to surround himself by something known as illusion, known as Maya Tattva. That is the 6th one. And then, when the Maya has been surrounded by him, he needs to get bound by something known as restrictors. Restriction with respect to space. Restriction with respect to time. Is bound, limited by, is now a limited being. He has to have that sensors implanted in himself. I am not omnipotent. I am not omnipresent. Understood now? He has to limit himself. The God has to limit himself. We call it as constructors, or in Sanskrit we call it as Kanchkas. There are 5 of them. He is surrounded by that. So initially we have 5. That's called as pure creation. Then we have 6 more, 11. And then 12 is the gentleman called as Purusha Tattva. That means the soul is now screwed. The soul is now screwed nice and proper now. And That Purusha Tattva, he is now staring him at something known as nature, Prakriti Tattva, which is now going to experience. So that is called as the 13th one. And then the rest of the thing goes as per the Sankhya philosophy now. So while this is in progress, now there is something else which is also happening here, parallel to this emergence of the soul. That is known as the sonic blueprints. So this gentleman God, the absolute pure consciousness of the God, absolute pure consciousness of the God, the static aspect of the God, the gentleman has got something with him, that is music. I think even the Christian philosophy also agrees with that, more or less. And even Indian philosophy also agrees with that as it is, which we call it as Shabda Brahman. This gentleman, who has got that music along with him, is called a Shabda Brahman with Nada Tattva. And Nada means to move, the initial vibration, in the cosmos. And the vibration, when it comes to gets condensed to a point, we call it something known as Bindu Tattva. Nada Tattva and then Bindu Tattva. That is Shiva Tattva and Shakti Tattva, basically. Shakti means energy, cosmic power, that is the dynamic aspect of the God. Now, this initial vibration in the cosmos, the initial vibration, which is nothing but the musical note, everything has come from that now. How it has come? Earlier we discussed the desire, the knowledge to create, and the action. So this point which I talked, the musical note, the initial vibration, it became polarized into 3 dots, which they refer it to as something known as Kama Kala in Sanskrit and all that. Kama Kala means it is that sonic blueprint of the cosmos. Sonic blueprint of the cosmos, that Kama Kala. Now this Kama Kala, which we are talking about, it is also in kind of an unmanifested form. Like the first is, the sound is in, total the sound exists in 4 forms. The first is in para state, supreme state, call it. And when it is about to create, it descends down to something known as Pashyanti. And this sound, this primordial sound, when it comes into the level of human intellect, that's what we call it as mental sound. It is broken down into 50 seed letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. And these 50 seed letters of the Sanskrit alphabet are distributed along the 6 chakras, along the cerebrospinal system. And the problem here is, each of this letter is representing a physical counterpart. When we say the primordial sound lam, la, it's one of the Sanskrit alphabet, it is representing the earth element. And it is also representing the sensory perception of smelling. And it is also responsible, the particular energy center, that is root chakra, is responsible for the excretory functions, like that. Here, every energy center has got one of these letter of the Sanskrit alphabet, representing that energy center. And each energy center further has got so many energy patterns. Because we have got 50 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. The root chakra has got 4 letters distributed around it. Like that, all others. It is only in the Vishuddha chakra, that is the throat chakra, you have 2 things common there, very surprisingly. This is an exception. The throat chakra, it is basically has got the representing the element ether or Akash Tattva. And many people wonder why Akash Tattva? Science has not proven it. It is basically the mental space. The mental space. Nothing but the mental space. That is the ether element. Don't bother about the science, what it is accepting or not accepting. Because if you see, science accepts matter in 3 states: solids, liquids, right? Solids, liquids, basically, and maybe gases. Maybe gases. If you see root chakra, solids, fine. Swadhisthana chakra, the solar, that is sacral plexus, water element, fine. When it comes to Manipura chakra, it is light and heat. It is light and heat. And science says, no, it is not a state of matter. But when it comes to Anahata chakra, heart chakra, it is representing water, wind. It is representing wind. They say, yeah, wind is also state of the matter. It is accepting 3, solids, liquids, and gases. But it is not accepting the fire element, Agni Tattva. Why it is not accepting? Because science say, sorry, we are not able to measure the volume and mass. Now, if you can't measure the volume and mass, whose problem is that? Is it my problem or is it the problem of the yoga systems? It is the limitation of the science. Science is assuming, modern science, if they have to accept the matter that it is existing in a particular state, they need 2 things for that: volume and mass. They should be able to measure this volume and mass. If they can't measure it, sorry, they don't accept it. That is the problem with science. So therefore, don't bother about science. Science doesn't even know what it is probably. It knows that it is constantly changing itself. It will change. That's why I'm saying the way science is looking at the parameters themselves need to change now. If you keeps looking at the world that I should be able to calculate, mathematically I should be able to calculate. If you don't calculate, no, this is not science. Then whose problem is that? Go to hell? Go to the darkest hell? Whose problem is that? Because the world is something else, whereas you are trying to calculate it from a mathematical model. And the same mistake, hasn't the science done the same mistake a few centuries ago? When Newton was proposing a mechanical universe, everything according to the Newtonian mechanical universe, he was proposing that entire structure got broken down when Einstein proposed the mathematical model. So our very basic ideas have to change here. It just because we are holding on to our old ideas, no, we are not able to calculate. Who told you to calculate here? In this world, everything is based on resonance. That means music. It is the music which is playing. And the human body has been constructed exactly like that. It is basically a sonic blueprint. Sonic blueprint. Shabda Prapancha, and then parallel you have Ardha Prapancha. The world of sounds, the world of things. And they are perfectly meshed together. That is the problem here. That means a human being, when he's constructed, he has got all the 50 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet along the cerebrospinal system. But people don't want to accept as the cosmic constants. They are like codes. In a way, if you see, all the Sanskrit alphabet, they are like cosmic codes. It's a different thing that people have used it for as a language also. They made a good use of it. We have so many books written in Sanskrit language, poetry, drama, and epics. They have been written, fine. That's a separate thing. But as far as the mantras are concerned, they are like cosmic codes. Now, people have actually screwed the entire system here again. For example, there is a seed mantra of, let's say, goddess of wealth. Seed mantra for goddess of wealth. No, that is like a cosmic code. No, you can't translate that. Can you translate the violin music? You tell me, James. Can you translate some other music of an instrument?
Can you physically translate it, Guruji? Is that what you mean?
Say again?
Can you were asking, can you physically translate the music?
Yeah. Can you do that?
No.
Same thing is here also. When the mantra is there, let's say goddess of wealth, there is a mantra, seed mantra. You can't translate that mantra. And when people have published that book, you know what they have done? They should have been openly admitted, saying that the resonating frequencies of the seed mantra of so and so. They should have been forthcoming. Seed mantra of goddess of wealth is particular sound body. You simply, whatever you want to say, you say that this is the resonating frequency of this mantra. Now, instead, what the gentlemen have done, smart people, they published books. They gave a title to the book, inviting abundance into your life. How to grow rich by chanting sacred mantra. They gave a new label to that so that the book can be sold. They were not interested in that. They were not bothered that by the fact that the mantra can't be translated. Because if you translate the mantra, which is supposed to be the cosmic code, the translation is telling you something else now. It is only giving you the prayer. When you translate a mantra, most of the mantras, you will hear them as a prayer, basically. And whom it is being addressed to? Mostly Western audience. In the earlier part of this century, or two to three centuries ago. And who to be blamed here? The so-called translators who have messed up with the entire system. They try to translate mantras which they are not meant to be translated. And the people who are hearing the translations, they were satisfied and happy because their ego was satisfied. Oh, it's a great prayer. I'm praying so and so goddess. I'm praying so and so God. What prayer praying going so? Nothing will have come out of that prayer. Because that mechanism itself is not being operationalized here. How can you translate a chemical equation? You tell me that. Chemistry is there, a chemical equation is there, two chemical compounds are interacting. How can you translate that into a reaction into some other language, The same thing people have done it. So this is the problem for confusion. All over the world, all over the mankind, people have picked up a little bit of bits and pieces information from left, right, and center. And add to this, people like the gentleman who translated these mantras into various languages, they screwed and messed up the entire system. And people who are listening and feeling happy about it, they are also to be blamed. They also did think once for a while that how these things are being translated if they are like mathematical formulae. How can you translate a mathematical formula? How can you translate a chemical equation? How can you translate a musical note into some other language? Because they are the cosmic codes. They are the constants. That's the problem here. Total confusion. Most of the people, they have no idea what they're pursuing. Spiritually confused, culturally confused, and I must say, even as a human being, people are also confused, I think. This is the basic problem. Why people are not able to progress spiritually, this is the problem. Lack of clarity on the issues. They keep hearing left, right, and center, something or the other, and totally mixed and confused. And as a result, they don't follow the procedure to be followed, the system to be followed. So that's it. That's what I want to talk to you. Shaktipat, as I told you, Shaktipat is the highest blessing which you all can get. All philosophies are covered in that. All techniques are covered in that. All that. And another problem here is when it comes to Shaktipat gurus, another confusion here. Now, Shaktipat gurus are different, other gurus are different. In independent yoga system, a guru has to be well versed with the particular yoga system or a tantric system. He is to be a role model, so that by personal example, he has to lead the students for the awakening of the Kundalini energy. But when it comes to Shaktipat, the Shaktipat guru is only like an operator. He's just pressing the button and the Shakti is being awakened here. And why it is happening here with the Shaktipat guru? Because the lineage has authorized him. So you can't compare the Shaktipat gurus with the normal independent yoga systems gurus. They're totally different category altogether. So this is another problem. Anyway, we'll discuss these things over our course of time in the future. Because in one session, I won't be able to make you wise. You need to grasp these things, the subtle aspects of the yoga practice, the subtle aspects of spiritualism, little by little, piece by piece. And then only you'll be able to piece them all together. Otherwise, there will be total chaos and confusion. You won't be able to make any headway, progress ahead. Okay? Please.
Yes. Yeah. So this was very insightful, really, really helpful, inspiring. Finally, can you give us some guidelines, some clues, hints when we sit down for meditation in the morning, how we should approach it?
See, first of all, sincerity from the bottom of heart. You know what you want. You are the witness to your inner thinking. And God is the witness, the universal God. Be very sincere. When you are pursuing God, you can't hide yourself. Most people, they make this mistake. Because whatever you are thinking, instantly God knows it. Because God is enshrined within you only. So therefore, in spiritual pursuits, one has to come out neat and clean from the bottom of heart one has to be very clear what they want. If spiritual growth is the thing what you are seeking, that is, when we say spiritual growth, freedom from karma. See the implication of it. It doesn't mean, no, if someone says, no, I want to be spiritually, I want spiritual growth, I want spiritual growth. So what do you mean by that? You want some what? You want to put on some saffron gloves? Or you want to become head of a large institution? Or a big ashram? What do you want when you say that you want to grow up spiritually? What do you mean by that? That clarity has to be there. If it is the true essence is understood, it means freedom. Freedom from your karma. Once you get the freedom from the karma, all power is yours, actually. So that essence has to be understood. If that is essence is understood, then what is the next logical step? You already got that weapon in your hand. Your guru has given you that Shaktipat initiation. It's just a matter of time before the karma is now neutralized. So what else is required now? You just focus on the guru all the time. Keep the mind focused on the guru all the time. Because when your mind was focused on the guru, that is the time that the mechanism got triggered. Am I right? The Shaktipat occurred, and the mechanism of burning down of karma, it got triggered when your mind was focused on your guru and you're chanting the mantra given by your guru simultaneously. That's how the karma burning process has got triggered. Now you already know the answer now. Now keep the mind focused on the guru so that the process goes on optimum level. Because that's what you want. Am I right?
Yeah.
You want the karma to be completely destroyed. Come what may. Anything, any doubt if a person has got on this, is getting scared. As simple as that. That's why we say in yoga practice, one has to be very bold. Come what may. Maximum what is going to happen? What will happen to this stupid life? We are not going to live forever. In a few years from now, I'll become old and I will pass away. What I have got to do with the world around me, with all people whom I know? So, therefore, it is all the more prudent that I burn down maximum of my karma. So, therefore, I'm left with very, if I'm lucky, I'll be free completely. Or else I'll pass away with a minimum balance of karma. So, therefore, when you say that the focus on the guru is the thing which is required here, that focus, come what may, your mind should always be around the guru only, idea of guru. When you say guru, God is guru now, in the form of role of a guru. It is basically you're exercising your obeisance to the divine, to the God, but in his role as your guru, not in the role that is your father or mother or baby. Understand this. You are now exercising obeisance to the God, not as if he is your supreme commander. You are not exercising obeisance to the God, not in his role as if he is some great philosophical teacher. No. You are now exercising obeisance to the God as if he is your guru. That's the key here. Note. Focus on the guru, game, set, and match. as they call it in tennis.
Mm.
A human being, all that he needs to do, focus on the guru. And it's a game, set and match. It's only a matter of time. But the problem is because of the lack of clarity. Why do you think that I've been trying to tell you all about what all God knows I've been trying to tell you? All the 6 philosophies of India, ancient philosophies of India, all various yoga systems. So it is all like climbing the mountain from different directions. Obviously, someone who is got habituated to climbing in one particular direction, he gets confused now when he sees other people climbing in some other direction. Actually, sometimes you feel pity when you see the people, and sometimes you don't know what to say. But then that's the way things are. Anyway, we'll keep talking about it more in greater depth. We'll dive into depth in the future. But then, as I said, you can't understand these things in one go. You have to understand it in small bits and pieces. People were not even willing to believe in a little while ago, the other day before I gave my talk in the earlier podcast. How do we know that our karma is responsible for our destiny? It takes even a high school kid or probably a simple, humble person living in a village, he will tell you that. Everyone does all kinds of stupid things. Now he questions, why should I face the consequences? Who will face the consequences if he doesn't do that? No one wants to own up the karma. But if something good is happening, they take credit for that brilliant intellect and whatnot. When something good happens, blame the God. That like you say that English movie, Hollywood movie, blame it on Rio. Something like that. Anything going wrong, you blame it on God, or blame it on some planets. And who has done all the stupid things? It is you who has done it. And it's you who has created the destiny for yourself. Now you tell me, where is the role of astrology in this, all of this? Where is the role for any gods and goddesses in this entire thing? No planets or no gods or no goddesses are doing any harm to you, firstly. And they have nothing to do with you. Okay. So that is the thing. I hope you got some idea today. Supriyaji?
Very helpful. Thank you so much.